Okay, so I'm just hopping onto here. Here we go, we're live. Hi guys, happy Sunday. The last Sunday for February. And just gonna give you guys a little bit of time to come on in, and you can say hi in the comments and let me know that you're here so I know exactly who's here. Yeah, so lots has been happening, just generally speaking, really. And yesterday was the second class for the year. So we had the February watercolor class yesterday, and that was actually an intense class because I realized as I walked away, the class was 2.5 hours. There was a little bit of a glitch with Zoom, totally my fault. But we ended up going overtime just because I had so much detail to kind of share about the drawing. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what we did. And I kind of walked away thinking, oh, maybe this was too much for people who are just learning. And maybe it was, but at the same time, these classes and these videos that I do with you guys, when you join me, they're meant to be more of a, we're doing it together. I'm giving you the tricks of the trade, my trade that is, because everyone does things differently. And you're supposed to, you might not get it in one go, but as long as you get the concept, it is all about practice, practice, practice. And so you need to keep on practicing if you hope to get anywhere, and not be discouraged by trying it once and maybe not getting it. And then also there's the whole factor about you have your own style, you got to evolve in your own style. You cannot mimic what I'm doing or what any other artist is doing. Heck, if I tried to reproduce a piece of art that I have done previously exactly the same, I wouldn't be able to do it. So keep that in mind. Hi Leah, hi Judy, hi Sally. Hi, Katie, Alex. All right, so there's a couple of people here. I am going to switch my screen so you can see what's happening down on my table before we begin. Give me 1 second to do that. Here we go. Okay. And just very quickly, I just want to make sure transitions. Yes, there we go. It's transition. Okay, so very, very quickly, this is what came out of February's class. And we focused on white space and intentionally trying to get white space in fruit, in flowers, and in the leaves and whatnot. And so I kind of really liked how it evolved. It's definitely more of an evolved composition as opposed to a simplistic one. But because I gave so much detail, I felt a lot of people could actually do it, and the results were quite nice. Like a lot of the few that sent me their end results, I loved. So I think I've shared some of them in my in my stories as well. Okay. All right, so that was February's. The video is going to be available for those who are interested in trying it out themselves. And then on to today's. Hi, Jill. Hi, Joanne. On to today's is this right here. And I'm just wondering, why is it that the screen is not changing? You can see that. Can you guys tell me if you're able to see, like the screen doesn't seem to be changing for me over here. This is very, very weird. Opening. All right, give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to do something really, really quickly. Because for some reason, I wasn't able to see things here, but I think maybe it's a glitch in the camera, perhaps. I'm not quite sure. Let me just do this one thing, and then I will be right with you guys. Sometimes OBS does this. That's the program I'm using to do the live. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. Now it's working. I think it's because I tried to rearrange the facial video screen so you guys could actually see my face today. It kind of messed up with the table bit. But yes, since you guys missed my spiel, this was February's class. And pretty much what I said earlier about white space, blah, blah, blah. It was a great class. It was an intense class. Check it out if you're interested in learning this kind of watercolor in a more detailed fashion. The video will be available online. But on to today's. This week's video was on these really loose, simplistic, beginner style bunch of florals that I did. And so it's like a cone-shaped flower. We've got some basic blades of grass and then some like filler florals in the back. And so just as I've been saying from the beginning of this year, I want to associate all the videos that I do to give you, to kind of like linking them together just so you get the most practice out of the videos that I'm putting out. So we're going to do something similar today, and I'm going to walk you through all the, I guess, supplies that I'm going to be using today. So this was done actually on etcher watercolor paper, which is amazing. I loved it. We're going to do something similar. So we're going to take the same elements that we have here, but with one, I guess, one basic twist. I would like to add one or two main florals and then add these other elements around the florals. So we'll have like this basic composition, and I'm going to tell you exactly what we're using right now. So we're starting off with my paper. I am using this Legion or Stonehenge, Legion Stonehenge Aqua, is it 300 GSM? Yes, 300 GSM. And for colors, I am going to be using my 36 set of White Nights. I'm going to walk you through exactly what colors we're using in a bit. I think we'll keep it fairly similar, but just hear me out. For the metallics, because I would like to add some metallics, I had to get up to get these. I am going to be using my KMS set from here. I'm not quite sure which one. I think maybe Pink Champagne or Champagne itself. Let's see how I feel as we kind of evolve in this. Let's see. Oh, for brushes. Okay, so for brushes, I am having a bit of I'm kind of going ahead and adding quite a few different brushes here for today. So we're going to do the Zen Art number 8, Silver Black Velvet number 8 round, Princeton number 8 round, just in case I need to do two brushes at the same time. And then I'm going to use the Princeton Filbert number 6 as well. So a slightly different introduction to these florals using this brush, okay? All right, and I think we are ready to begin. I'm just going to say a quick hi to people who've been writing in the comments here. Hey, Jill. I think I said hi to Jill already. Hi, Joanne. Do you guys still have an echo? I'm just noticing Leia's comment here about the echo. Are you guys still having an echo? Let me know. Hi, Sally. Oh, Patty, sounds like you had a important or busy start to your day already. Okay, no one's saying anything about the echo, so I'm just going to continue and go ahead with what we have, okay? So, keeping in mind that this is what we're trying to mimic, and this is this past week's video, so for those who've missed it, you want to check it out. It's on the YouTube channel. It should be the first video that shows up. Fairly simple for beginners and people who are just starting out in watercolor. So
kind of keep this off to the side for my reference. You guys know exactly what that looks like. So I'll start off by mixing some color. I'm going to start off by mixing color using my number 8 Silver Black Velvet. I've got my 2 little bowls of water ready, and I'm also keeping some paper towel handy just in case I need to dab away or anything like that. People are still hearing an echo. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Tell me, do you still hear an echo now? I have to pause like this just because there's a little bit of a lag in the video. Let me know, holla holla, let me know if you hear the echo. The echo comes and goes. Interesting. I'm going to try one more thing before we start because I don't want this video to kind of get recorded with an echo, which can be kind of annoying. Output. So what if I did... How about now? Do you guys hear an echo or it's funny, like I can't hear myself, and so I have to keep on asking you guys on this level. Do you hear it? Do you not hear it? So sorry. And I gotta wait for a little bit too, just in case. Okay, great. Excellent. I'm gonna start then, since majority of the people are saying no echo. All right, so starting off with, we're going to use, I'm going to put my colors on here so you guys can see what I'm mixing. I know I shouldn't be putting it on top of my sheet of paper, but I'm trying to fit everything under the screen here. So I'm going to start off by using some of my, let's use some ruby. I'm going to use some ruby, even though my heart is trying to tell me to use the carmine, but let's use some ruby. And we're going to start off by doing our massive rose in ruby and probably hints of Madder Lake red as well. But for now, let's just mix a little bit of ruby on here, and then we can go on with the other bits shortly. So 30-70 ratio is what I am mixing my colors at. And let's see what else. We will definitely be using, if you have a regular round number 2, you can use that brush as well. We're going to use the number 6 filbert. Well, I'm going to use the number 6 filbert for the center. And for that, I'm using, in terms of color, we're going to take the yellow ochre. And I'm just going to get it directly on my brush and then paint on the sheet. So that's my beginning choice of colors here. Okay, so we're starting our main floral. And I'm going to move all these extra items out of the screen so you can just focus in on my sheet here. And so taking my number 6 filbert, I'm going to start by creating a very jaggedy, rough center, and I'm just going all the way around in an oval shape. So for the top is more straight lines and the bottom is more of a dot, and this is because the direction of my floral or my flower is going to be up this way. And then I'm going right away into my my round silver black velvet number 8, and I'm actually going to do the first stroke. So I have some of the ruby on my brush, but I'm going to get some ruby directly from the palette, and I'm keeping the number 8 Princeton handy. And we're going to start off right away by doing the petals. So first petal, I'm pressing down and dragging lightly towards the center. The top petal, I'm going to do more of a circular manner like this, or arc. The side one, again, similar to this first one here. And then the bottom, again, I'm pressing down and kind of trailing this way. And each time I did a slice or a piece of this floral or this flower, I dipped the tip of my brush in water to get more water in there. Now that we have this, I'm going to get some of my Madder Lake Red directly from my palette, and I'm going to add a little bit of strokes from the petals that I've just painted in, and I'm kind of drawing it into the center. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want a darker, slightly different variation of red happening in the center, and I also want it to bleed into the yellow that we have happening in there. Okay, so now that I have that, just dipping the tip of my brush in water, and we're just going to go ahead and create multiple kind of lighter strokes, leaving a lot of white space in and around this flower. Okay, so the bottom half, I'm kind of really pressing and really going and extending the petal over, just because the bottom is more, you see more of the petals that are flopped over. And again, I've dipped the tip of my brush in water. I got another lighter version of this red, and I'm creating another petal there. And then as we go upward, I'm just using the tip of the brush to kind of go ahead and just outline, almost do like these little arc shapes all around to kind of indicate different layers happening in the flower. And you can definitely go ahead, get some more of the red, the ruby, and just make this flower look fuller. Okay, and now right away, actually I didn't even need this brush handy. I'm going to take the filbert again. Before this dries up, I want to take a little bit of the Mars Brown, and I want to add some tiny dots of Mars Brown into this center before it fully dries up. But I still want to leave that white space in there, okay? So we're not getting rid of the white space. And so now we can introduce the Princeton number 8. I'm going to get some green. I will use, so for this one, I'm going to use some of the chromium oxide green, which is right there. And you know what? I am going to zoom in just a bit more so you can see better as I am painting. There we go. And I want to take advantage of some of these areas that are still damp. So I'm going to do one leaf here. So I'm doing an extension or a stem here, then dipping the tip of my brush in water really quickly and pressing down, doing the first stroke for the leaf, second, and the third. Notice I'm leaving white space again. I'm going into my colors, getting a darker green, and I'm just adding that to the top and just to the bottom here. And then using the same color that I have on this brush, I'm just going to go ahead and create another leaf. Now notice my edges for these leaves are not as, what's the word? They're not as pointed as they were when I did these guys here. And that's because the point on this isn't as strong as the one from the Zen Art brushes. So use your judgment on what you want, what kind of results you want before you decide what you're using to paint. I'm just going to do these leaves in 3 areas, and these are the areas, I'm choosing these areas because they are still damp right now. And again, like I mentioned previously, I'm adding some of that darker green, these certain areas here. I want there to be more of a shadow in these areas, so we've got some nice lights and darks all over the place, okay? All right, so I'm keeping this brush aside because we're going to need some more green a little bit later, and we're going to go back into this guy here, and we're going to start doing our, let's start doing the little cone-shaped flowers, or the cone flowers, not cone-shaped flowers. So I will use the filbert to create the center, and then also the filbert to create the petals, so something slightly different. Still a yellow center, so I'm going to use the ochre, and let's start some happening on this side. Very lightly, leaving white space in between the center, and then I'll take the, did I have another brush? Oh no, we're doing the same brush, that's what I said. So there's one, so we'll do a couple all at the same time so we're not redoing these multiple times over. So here's another center. Let's do one more. Let's do one more this way. All right, perfect. So we've got 3 there. Washing off my brush now, and we're gonna go in and get some, let's get some of the cadmium, no, let's get some of the, what color should I use, guys? Okay, let's get some of the Titan red. And I'm gonna mix some of the Titan red on here. It's like an orangey, reddy, more of an orange tone than anything else. And I'm watering it down. And I'm going to do these petals starting from outside, trailing in. And even using the side of my brush here to kind of get these petals on. Maybe even drop a little bit of that red, ruby red in there just to kind of get nice variation tied in with this flower that we've done. So same kind of technique. I'm just using a different brush. You can feel free to use the same brush that you used for the Thursday's video tutorial. I'll leave that up to you. And then finally we've got this one here. Great. So now I'm going to go in with the same brush, and I want to really make sure that the centers of these are darker, so I'm going to get more of that Titan red, and I'm just going to dab it in there. Now some areas are a little bit, they've dried off already, so I'm just going to extend that all the way down so that it looks like it's the petal. I'm kind of redoing the petal all over again. Right away we are washing this off again, and I want to get some of my Mars Brown and just want to highlight certain areas around this center to give a little bit more of the dark shadowy effect to the centers of these flowers. Just brightened up the screen a little bit just because it looked a tad dark. All right, just dabbing away this color to kind of really mix it into this yellow that we have happening. Washing off my brush, and we're gonna go ahead and, I know I've got some of that red, ruby red on here. I'm gonna get as much as I can onto my palette and wash this off. Don't need the ruby red right now, and we're going to get some of the, we're gonna get a green and get some of these stems and whatnot going. So for the green, I think I would like to use a mixture of the emerald with some umber right there. So I'm going to mix that onto my palette. So that's the bright emerald that we have. And I'm going to get the umber, mix that on there. Again, 30-70 ratio, and we're going to go ahead and very loosely add these stems in there. But there's not a lot of space, obviously, because they're all so squished together, but that's okay. We're going to extend and add like these blades of grass almost. My hand is a little bit shaky right now. There we go. And right away, just like we did these blades of grass here, that's what we're doing over here. So very lightly, because I don't want to over saturate these areas, I'm just adding a couple of blades. Because I want to add some detail like this, but at the same time, I want to make sure that I have enough area to add more of the glittery elements or any other fillers that we're looking for. I'm going to add one here. Notice again, as I am creating these leaves, I am leaving white space. And what I've done right now is just taken a little bit of that umber, and I'm just on the tip of my brush, and I'm highlighting the areas like the stem and where the leaves are meeting the stem, just to get that darker hue. Okay, so we've got that. I'm going to add a couple of those similar elements over here. Oh, that looks like majority like the like emerald. So I'm getting a little bit more of the umber mixed in. So I do not want emerald. That's way too bright. And what I'm also going to do is just add a couple of loose strokes in between these flowers, just to, because it's going to look like, oh, there's no greenery in between. That's weird. And notice it's on a lighter scale at this point because we are almost kind of doing this feathering effect instead of making everything seem super bright and dark. So I think this is enough for this area. Let's just do one more here, actually, at the top. And okay, so let's stop with that over there. Let's add some of the, I wanted to add elements that kind of look like they are, well, actually, let's finish these. So let's add the tiny guys next, the little buds. Let's add the buds down here. Instead of kind of having these guys also repeat here, I want to try something new, add the buds down there. So for the buds, let's use the really pretty and nice, I was thinking cobalt. Yeah, let's use some of the cobalt blue. So I'm going to mix some of that onto my palette. And then for the highlights, or sorry, the shadowy bits, we'll add a dot of indanthrene blue. Okay. Okay, so for these guys, I've got this one ready with the green. Number 8 ready with green, so I probably would have swapped the brushes just because this has a pointier tip compared to this, but I already have the blue on here and I can't be bothered, so I'm just going to have to be extra careful so that it's not super thick. And in hindsight, because these things are cute little sprigs that look better if they're facing upward, what I'll do is have them over here on this end here. So these are facing this way. Let's have these kind of going this way, or maybe even just straight is fine. So I'm just pressing down and doing these arc-shaped strokes. Too much water, so I'm going to kind of lightly dab onto my paper towel, take off all that excess water, add more here, dipping the tip of my brush in water to get a lighter version of this blue. I'm just going to go ahead and do one at the top that's kind of sort of attached to the one below. And maybe at this point, you know what, get a little bit of that additional different looking blue in there too, just to get that variation in, that two-tone variation, which I love. So we've got some here and they'll attach this way. Let's do one on this end. You'll notice the detail is not a lot. And as I'm going outward with these flowers, I am going to take off most of the color so it's a lot lighter. So dipping the tip of my brush in water, dabbing on my paper towel, trying to get a lighter version of this. Okay, now let's go in with the green. I'm going to get some more of the umber just to make this green darker and more different. And I'm just attaching stems to our little sprig here. And then just attach the stems if we want to show a little bit of greenery. I'm just doing cutesy little strokes to indicate leaves. And I am also doing a couple of strokes around flowers that are still damp, and so allowing the green to kind of seep in. And I'll just do this here, because what I'll do is just go in with this blue that I have, which is very, very light, and just add what looks like buds on there. And then I'm just kind of dotting with whatever remaining blue I have. I'm kind of adding these light little dots in and around these areas to kind of make it look like there's loose little buds hanging out here and there, especially in the outskirts area over here, like on the edges, and then also in between where you can see the green is still damp. Okay, so I kind of like how this has turned out. We can do one more. I'm just adding a little bit more greenery over here. I'm going to give it like this round shape so that it looks like it's kind of hovering around one of the rose petals on the edge, giving my rose more of an edge. So this is where I'm not being as loose. I'm like very intentionally painting this area in just to create some visual contrast or interest rather. I'm just adding more of the umber to this as well, just so that it can be, it can stand out a bit more compared to all the other greens. I'm just adding one swoop of this here. Okay, perfect. So we've got this. Let's do a couple more of these peeking out here. I think we'll just leave this area for now. Let's just see what we want to do. Some just on this side here with the blue. Not as much as that, obviously. Give it some nice hierarchy. And then on a lighter blue scale as opposed to, you know, what we did there. So going back with my green, I am attaching stems. Perfect. And then we spoke about the dotting. Before we do the dotting, I'm just going in with that what was it called? Indanthrine blue. And I just want to highlight these damp areas here so that they seem darker in tone. Perfect. And now dipping the tip of my brush in water so I can get a lighter hue. I'm just going to lightly do what I was doing up there, the little dots. Kind of really phasing out the blue. And then very quickly just adding just a couple of strokes of this green so it doesn't look like this is void of all greenery on the branch. If you want to do the little dots with green as well, that would work. I'm not going to do that. I'm just doing a couple of strokes of the green and then we're going to move on. All right. Okay, so that's what this looks like right now. You know what? For this area, before we get to this area, let's just tackle the bottom first, because I do want to do those really soft florals that kind of fade from green into the color itself, kind of like what I posted this morning on my Instagram, where the colors are kind of just blending into each other, forming the flower and whatnot. So, but first, what I want to do is add more greenery down here at the bottom. So keeping with this green that we have here, because I don't like to waste color, I'm going to mix in some of my olive green in here. And let's get this lighter hue happening at the bottom. And we are going to start off by doing those florals that look like Queen Anne's lace. That's what I want at the bottom here, spread out with some greenery. So for color for it, I think it would be nice to kind of let's see. Here's my color palette. Here's what we have so far. Anyone want to engage and tell me if you have an opinion on what color? Let me know now, because I am in two minds about which color. I mean, I think it would be nice to sort of use a purple maybe, or maybe something in between this blue and a purple, so it kind of blends in. But then would that make it too cool? Let me know in the comments, guys. Opinions. I'm looking for opinions. Tell me quickly. Anybody? Purple was my thought too. Okay, all right, let's do purple. Should we do dark purple or light purple? Jill, the yellow green is going to be for the branches. That's why I mixed some of the olive with my with the remaining green, so it'll be more of a young looking green. Yeah, okay, so I will... Is this washed off? No, this has green in it. I mixed my brushes, guys. Give me a second. Let me wash off my brushes so I am ready. So I have some of the green on this. So let's do the... No, we gotta do the stems first before we do the color. So let's do a stem here. And it's like these little arc shapes that happen all around. And then on top of this is where we get all the flowers in a dotted format. Dotted format? Yeah, well, it's going to be like adding little dots. So very loosely adding these strokes in. Now I'm going to take my number 8 Princeton, and let's take some of the Quin Lilac. So the Quin Lilac looks like this. I'm just going to get a little bit of the purple, mix it in there to get this hue. Violet. I mixed a little bit of the violet to get this hue. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do this little dotted motion all the way around across. And I think what I will do now that I'm seeing it on the sheet is I'll space it out, and then I will go in with some of the ruby. So let me get some of the ruby. Oh, I have some ruby on my palette already, so just taking some of that. I'm just going to selectively try and add it in areas kind of make it more dense looking in some areas, leave it kind of open in others. I think another variation you could have done is taken that blue and mixed it in with the purple. That would have probably also been a nice way to go. Now that I have that, I'm just washed up most of the color from my brush, and with just water on it, I am going to lightly add more strokes. Dots. And I'm trying to do this whole faded pointillism kind of impressionistic style for these while keeping it very loose looking. So that is the idea here. Yeah, leave it like that, and then I'm going to get one more stem. of these. Let's have it facing downward a little bit. And then I already have some of this color on here. So this time I'll do the purple with the blue. Let's try and see what results we get. So now I'm adding some of that blue in here. And again, for those who've not watched the video on, I think it was Purple Kisses, and I used some of the KMS metallics with the regular watercolor, and that was really pretty. The point of mixing these two colors like this sporadically, just kind of doing your pointillism bit, is A, besides it making it loose, is also to get that beautiful blend of color happening while it is damp. I'm just adding some of the blue on this edge here as it is kind of meeting these guys here. And then, just as I phased out here without much color, taking off most of the color, and I'm just kind of lightly dabbing. Because again, it's a very loose style of painting, and so I don't want this edge to be so clean. I do want there to be hints of almost like a bokeh effect happening, and we'll go in with some greenery to kind of really loosen it up. But that's the idea that I am, or that's the visual I'm going for. All right, that's great. So I think now we can just fluff it up with some greenery, and then I will do the leaves flowing into flowers that I was mentioning. I saw white flowers. I saw someone do white flowers, and it was just the green seeping into the, I guess, water that they had used to create the shape. I'm not quite sure I'll be able to get that effect right now, but we'll see. And for now, I'm just going to mix in some more of my green to get a light variation of the green that we've been using so far. So just another green, really and truly, if you have another green handy, just get a green that's going to look different from what we have on here. Now I'm mixing a whole bunch of different greens, but I'm also mixing in some of that umber, because I really like how that looks. Let's see what this looks like, okay? So for my greens, this area is pretty much done. So we're gonna do these stems coming out this way, but I don't think I should give them stems. We'll go right into the flowers, I'm thinking. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm washing off my brush. And in fact, I didn't even need to wash up the brush because I have my number 8 here. We're gonna go in with a light version of the yellow, the ochre, very, very light. So I'm getting it like this. Like super light, 80 to 20%. And just like I posted this morning, we're going to create little flowers here and then go in with the green and attach them and have this happen, have it bleed into the green. So I want to make sure I have enough water on my brush to get this. So we're starting off, let's just do your regular 5-petal florals. Here's one. And the idea is to touch the green so that the green floats into the yellow, just like you're seeing happening right now. And if it's not floating enough, go back in with your brush, get some of that green, let's attach this. And then you can have some green leaves happening in between as well onto the side here where it is damp, and it's going to seep into the yellow. I'm just highlighting some of the edges of this so it's a darker yellow and you can see more, you can get more of the shape of the flower. And get some green happening over on this end with another stem. And I'm deliberately placing it here because I want this to touch the yellow, really get in there. And then dipping the tip of my brush in water, I am doing a lighter leaf right beside this one. Getting some more of that green, I'm just highlighting certain areas on this leaf so that the green kind of seeps all over. And just doing lighter strokes to kind of really have it fade. Getting some more of that yellow, we're going to do a couple of petals in here as well. Now at this point I'm literally trying to get these florals in between these greens to kind of give it that nice faded look. And I'm even adding a little bit of, what was this color that we used? The Titan Red into these petals that we've just done. And again, you can see me phasing out by adding a couple of dots here and there. Really giving it that loose look, because it's a whole bunch of petals, but you can't quite make out what the flower looks like. You just know there's a flower there. That's the idea. I'm getting some of the green now and just highlighting certain areas that could use some green. I'm actually going to step back, have a quick look at the composition. Do we need a certain shape? What do we need happening? And then skillfully add in, I guess, leaves if you need to. So I'm going to add a stem here just to give it some visual interest on this end. And then just do some loose looking leaves there. Washing off my green, most of it, I'm just going to, with water, just add a couple of strokes here to kind of give it a loose looking fade. Adding some of the same idea from there onto these areas here. But again, remember, we want to keep this almost kind of like fading down, which is why I'm adding the color and then kind of taking it off. But I don't want to cover all these petals. I want to leave some of them open, but you can have some peeking out from the sides, some of the green that is. And if it's too much water, just take your paper towel and just lightly dab. For these guys here, because they're nice and damp, what I would like to do is add a darker version of green right there, just to give that shadow effect, because it's nearest to this flower. And so I'm doing this. Where I can kind of add that in while it is still damp to kind of give that nice dark to light, and then just allow it to kind of do its thing by just fading off down here. Okay, and just like I said, we have some here. Let's do just a little bit over here. I don't think it needs too much, but the same idea that we have down there, adding it to the top. And so using your, what was it, ochre, yellow ochre, and then some of the Titan red. Let's do the stems. And I don't want them too high as well. So right away doing my petals. I'm getting some of that light yellow. I'm getting these loose looking strokes, making sure you've got white space in between, because without white space, you're kind of nowhere when it comes to loose florals in watercolor. So I think this one is ending up looking more like one floral sitting on the top, which I'm fine with, but we can go in and just add a little bit more of the green to get that nice seepage of green happening. Just make sure you don't have too much water on your brush so that it's not pooling around, and you can actually have it seep into the yellow a little bit. I'm adding a little bit more of the green highlights at the bottom here, and you know why. It's because we're going to go in and do this dark green flare up right there, just so that it looks like it's coming out from here, going upward, and we've got a nice blend. And again, notice I am going into almost like a shape of the outer petal for this flower that we have. And I'm just kind of attaching a little bit of stem at the top bits. So this flower has clearly evolved. It went from one to several different pieces. And that'll happen when you're doing loose style of watercolor. Sometimes you just gotta, it doesn't quite end up as you had planned, and then you kind of roll with the punches, and it's all good. Okay, so loving that. I really like how all of this looks. I think the last bit that we can do and end off with is adding some metallic details, which I promised you I would do. Okay, so for the metallic details, I think based on what we have here, it would be really nice to do, I'm thinking some of the silhouette, like black details. What do you guys think? So like a slate gray, a dark gray happening. And I actually never ended up using the flat brush. I wanted to use some flat brush florals for this, but I didn't. Can you see the gray? It would be like a nice dark color, kind of highlighting all the bright colors that we have. What do you guys think? Anybody have, thanks Leah, glad you like it. Thank you Sokar. Okay, no comments. People don't really have a an opinion on this. Okay, so I gotta think quick. I think I will do the, we've got a lot of pinks and purples happening, so not the pink champagne. Definitely, I think the champagne, because we've got so much yellow, I think we're good on that front. Bronze could work, or the silhouette could work. So I think I'll do the silhouette, because I think always go with your first gut instinct, I say. And we've got a lot of different shapes happening here already. And so for these, it would be nice to do wispy looking leaves, kind of like the blades of grass idea. Keep it thin and delicate, maybe. So just to kind of see what we had done there previously, kind of like these guys, similar to what we did there, but just in the black or silhouette. Okay, so I'll definitely start with some on this end here. And the beauty about these is because it is black or a dark tone, we're not, we can do some nice overlaps without really losing details. So I'm just going to place some here. And I am still doing that whole leaving white space in between these blades as well. There's one. Let's do another happening down here. So I was thinking just here on this end. And let's have a couple of these strokes in between, just kind of like peeking, so it kind of ties everything in together too, and you can see that the colors are all over. And definitely some on this end over here. Yeah, I'm not talking because I'm seriously thinking about placement now. Just adding one in between. Oh! Changing battery. You should see me now. Why is this not working? Give me 1 second, guys. I will just... Okay, why is this not working? Oh, it's right here at the bottom and very, very tiny. There we go. Okay. That's weird. When stuff like this happens, it's just in the middle of a session, it can be quite... Are you guys still not hearing me? What's going on? Hello? Hello, hello, hello? You can see me. Oh, you mean you can see the artwork, right? Right. Are you guys still not hearing me? What's going on? Oh, now I can hear myself. Hello? Hello, hello, hello? You can see me. Oh, you mean you can see the artwork, right? Oh, right. Now I'm actually... Are you guys still not hearing me? What's going on? Oh, now I can hear myself. Hello? Hello, hello, hello? You can see me. Oh, you mean you can see the artwork, right? Oh, right. Now I'm actually... Are you guys still not hearing me? What's going on? Oh, now I can hear myself. Hello? Hello, hello, hello? All right, okay, so I think I unmuted my video and that's why that echo was there. Sorry, guys. Okay. Anyways, we're done. We're done for today. No more beyond this echo and whatnot. I'm done with technology for today as well. Thank you guys for joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. And we will... Actually, hold on. Let me just do this really quickly. Where is this? Where is this? Oh, I wanted to show you guys my face, but it's okay. You know what? Let's not bother with that. Thank you guys for joining me, and we will I guess you'll hear from me when the new video for this week comes out, so stay tuned on Thursday. If you haven't done this video, please go and try this as well. Tag me in your work. I want to see how you do. Yeah, that's it, guys. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. Bye.